Most American tool companies left decades ago. Channel 0CK stayed. Since 1886, they have forged pliers in one small Pennsylvania town. But what keeps this family-owned factory rooted in Meadville isn't loyalty. It's a strategy with trade-offs no one advertises. George B. DeArment started with a hammer, anvil, and a stubborn sense of purpose. In 1886, unsatisfied with the farrier's tools on the market, he began forging his own in a small shop in Evansburg, Pennsylvania. That first winter, he worked by lamplight, building up a stock of nippers and hoof-parers. When spring arrived, legend says he loaded his tools onto a wagon and set out across the countryside, selling every last piece. Then, in a move that's still talked about in company lore, he sold the wagon and horse too, taking the train home with empty hands and a pocket full of orders. The business grew by word of mouth and grit. By 1891, DeArment incorporated as Champion Tool Company, expanding his reach and reputation. In 1904, needing more space and better access to rail lines, he moved the operation to Meadville. The new shop, 12,000 square feet, stood as a commitment to both growth and place. That decision set the company's roots, anchoring it to a town that would become known for making things. From the start, Channellock's story was shaped as much by geography and persistence as by the tools themselves. In 1933, a quiet revolution took place inside the Meadville factory. Chief Engineer Howard Manning sketched out a new kind of plier, a design that would not just tweak an old tool, but fundamentally change how it worked. Manning's tongue and groove slip joint, patented in 1934 as U.S. Patent No. 1,950,362, used interlocking curved ridges and grooves to transfer force. Instead of the pivot pin bearing the brunt of the load, the curved groove carried most of the torque, allowing the jaws to grip harder and last longer. For workers, this meant a tool that could take 5 times the torque of older slip joints without deforming. The adjustability came without sacrifice, multiple jaw positions, no loss in strength, and drop forged from tough alloy steel. Manning's diagrams showed a load path that turned a weak spot into a selling point. This was more than an engineering tweak. It was a leap, and it gave the company a product no competitor could match for decades. Ownership at Channellock has never changed hands. More than 90% of the company's equity remains with the DeArment family, a rare holdout in an industry defined by buyouts and private equity churn. This kind of control shapes every decision, from product lines to payroll. John DeArment, the current president and 5th-generation leader, puts it simply: a country is only as strong as its ability to manufacture products. That conviction shows up in the way the company treats its workforce. About 400 employees, many with decades on the job, some with parents or even grandparents who worked the same lines. Family ownership means the pressure to chase quarterly profits is replaced by a focus on continuity and reputation. Still, the company is upfront about its compromises. Not every tool in the catalog is made in Meadville. Some screwdrivers and wrenches come from Canada or Taiwan, but that transparency is part of the long game. Keep the core manufacturing, the signature pliers, rooted in the same Pennsylvania soil, while adapting where it makes sense. For Channellock, staying local is a business strategy as much as a point of pride. Meadville's reputation as Tool City, USA, isn't just a slogan. By the late 20th century, as heavy industry faded across the Rust Belt, Meadville doubled down on precision manufacturing. The town became a magnet for small CNC shops and tool and die makers, over 10 within a few square miles, employing more than 2,500 machinists and technicians. That network isn't just a backdrop for Channellock. It's a living supply chain, a talent pool, and a proving ground for new ideas. When the company needs custom dies or repairs on short notice, the solution is often a phone call away. Local colleges run pipeline programs, training the next generation of machinists right in town. Mei Liu, a workforce development expert, points out that this cluster effect gives Meadville a kind of industrial gravity, drawing in skilled workers and keeping technical know-how close at hand. For Channellock, that means the factory floor is never isolated. It's plugged into a regional ecosystem that few places in America can match. Inside the Meadville plant, every plier begins as a billet of 1,080 high-carbon steel, chosen for its toughness and edge retention. Technicians feed these billets into a furnace running at nearly 1,200 degrees Celsius, hot enough to turn steel a bright, searing orange. Seconds later, a press slams down, 0.12 seconds per stroke, shaping the metal under immense force. From there, the rough forms move to a laser station, where critical surfaces are heat-treated with pinpoint accuracy. This process hardens just the working edges, balancing durability with flexibility. On a typical day, the factory turns out around 10,000 pliers, each one checked by hand and machine before it leaves the line. Not every tool stamped with the Channellock name comes from Meadville. About 40% of the company's catalog, wrenches, screwdrivers, specialty sets, are sourced from partners in Canada, Taiwan, and beyond. That's not a secret. It's a matter of record, and the company's export manager says it's the only way to serve a global market that expects both breadth and reliability. Channellock now offers 175 US-made SKUs, but its reach stretches to more than 60 countries. A recent warehouse expansion added 35,000 square feet just to keep up with orders. The honesty about what's made where is balancing pride in American manufacturing with the realities of running a worldwide business. Cobots now work alongside machinists, taking on about 20% of repetitive tasks, loading presses, sorting pliers, because there simply aren't enough hands. Technical program enrollment has fallen 15% in the last decade, leaving positions unfilled as older workers retire. In 2022, Channellock secured a $2.3 million state grant to expand automation, hoping to keep production steady even as the workforce shrinks. John DeArment doesn't mince words. If we don't automate, we don't survive. But we're not replacing people. We're trying to keep the doors open for the next generation. The stakes are high, but so is the determination to keep blue grips rolling off the line in Meadville, shaped by both hands and machines. Channellock's roots in Meadville reflect tough choices. Some tools come from overseas, but stewardship keeps core production and jobs local. As John DeArment says, a country is only as strong as its ability to manufacture products.